What's going on, YouTubes? Time for a recap. So, one of the most important things that I always watch is multiple cluster gaps. What is a gap? Volume displaced, right? Big old lack thereof and inbounds of volume, right? If you remember the old FOMC dump ski, we left not one, not two, three in a very close grouping on the 1 minute chart. We also got a little hidden boy up here. So we'll see you back up here, as we already told our chat. But if you missed out that Monday long, let me teach you how we caught it. So every single time futures open, I do a high low of the prior day. So we had the big Friday dump. I take the over under, or I'm sorry, the higher to lower, right? The yesterday's highs to the low. I don't know what to do with my speech here. High low into the gold, right? And then anything over the golden pocket is over under support resistance. So the golden pocket from the high low is right here, right? And this was our target. This is what we called 63.45 to 63.64.50, all because 1 minute gaps were left open during an FOMC. Now, it's very rare to get three of these bad boys, but let alone two. But to leave them open overnight, only CPI, FOMC, and Powell can do that. Mainly, actually, pretty much only Powell. I've seen it one other time ever in my notes that I have for CPI. So we'll just say Powell and FOMC. So that deregulates the algos of trading. So when you have him talking, right, completely moves outside of its normal personality trait and leaves gaps overnight. A lot of the time, you'll see my systems chase down same day gaps. This is not how that works. So when we came into today, and I said, well, as long as it's over the golden Fibonacci high-low, take her long. I only wanted 63.45 out of the day, and I was really hoping we'd stop right at the gaps. But regardless, we called it above the GP to the first gap. I think I called 33 fresh points for this one. It actually went 70 some. I said I don't want to see this gap fill cluster today. I really want it to conk out like right here at this 1 minute gap, shut down, open up again, and give us another long trade. But I have a fear that we're just literally going to bang for this gap up here and just let this thing absolutely eat for the next couple days. So let's get into everything that I did here to affirm and correlate our long, right? How did we make all of this possible? Well, one thing started with the Qs. I wanted to see a dip buy at the 100 EMA in the green and then go long. I did not get that dip buy, which is fine, but I did have a couple different markers to use. So let's get into that. The 15-minute chart gave us this beautiful open, and I'm not an ORB player, so don't cut me at the stake here. ORB sucks, not using it, don't never do. Fibs only, always and forever. So we fib out the high low of the 15. We watch it go to the 1618. Standard practice in Fibonacci says back to the 100 before she goes to the 2618. This was perfect Fibonacci standard practice. We actually longed it out of the gate here into the pullback, and this is how we shorted it. What other confluence points did we use? Well, remember that algo on Friday pre-market? Well, let's take a stab at that. I'm going to take that, change it to the neon green, and lo and behold, we have another standard practice Fibonacci to pay attention to. Now watch very close. Another fib high-low on the algo. Notice price action never hitting the 100 in the green here when the breakdown started. It snapped off right through the 1618, right almost to the 2618, not even hitting it. Now the 5-minute is usually cleaner than this. I did that on the 15. I have no idea why. Always use the 5-minute for these, not the 15. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, why didn't it hit the 2618? I know for a fact it hit that 2618. Yeah, there we go. Much better. So 5-minute high low in the algo. Shied the 2618. This is funny because we called this in the chat on Friday. Said watch for the sweep and then back along towards the 100 EMA for SPY. This also obviously is going to apply somewhat for Qs, but if you look very close there to that first low Friday, it was a shy. It didn't actually hit the 2618 from the algo that we fibbed out. So it comes up, shies the 100 EMA, and I called the sweep right here. Said watch for the lows to be broke into a sweep and then snap back at the end of the day. Perfect, right? Now comes over to a no tag for Monday. So we have a high-low where no 100 ever was tagged live, okay? Not here. This is pre-market. When it opens up in the black, there are no candles that hit 559.69, right? So we get into that today. And I said, boys and girls, it is 100% long day. Full force, baby. All I want to see is a dip to the 100 EMA and buy. Did we get that? No, the market's a jerk. But what did we do? We played over yesterday's highs. And I said to my chat right here, bitched about it for ever. And I said, please do not short anything. You're going to get absolutely destroyed. It is a 100% algo magnet up because of our Fibonacci system that we developed and been putting out forever. Right to the GP. Crazy, huh? So I want you to focus on those two confluences with the 15 and the algo back here on the 5. Let's get into a busier chart. Blammo, and this is what I had from my chat in the Discord, okay? So this is what it looked like. If for whatever reason we rejected the 100, we would look short. Notice the red sentiment starts at the 100 in the green, right? We can't short unless we are under that, as I've yelled at my chat 18 trillion times today. Like it says right here on the note, short 100 EMA 5-minute for the first opening move. I wanted to see it just tap the 100. That's all I wanted. Didn't even hit it today at all. Again, third day in a row, mind you. Insane. So what did we do? Well, we counter trended it because we missed the long, right? I played a couple longs right here for the breakout of the weekly and the 100 because I knew it was going to magnet to the GP, but it wasn't huge. It was like $1,800 on cash, and then we did counter trend, right? So counter trend, what does that look like? Well, counter trend best case short, last week's 50. If you look at my fib charts, teal is always the weekly, which means if you take last week's action, high and low, this is where you're going to get that 50. 5, 6, 3, 12. And I said, counter trend short best case scenario. And we shorted that sucker right here. And we made $1,776 times 3 on our fundeds. Now, rolling back in today, long's end. Where did I get our long target from? And how did I know the long end of the day was coming up here, right? Because we had one live tag right here. If VWAP and 100 EMA are support. And I'm going to look to my left. Well, Brandon says that's our target one live tag. If we're above the VWAP in the purple and above the 100, are we? Yes. So we're going up here. Okay. So we had all those notes ready in pre-market, mind you. I could probably go back and find them in the Discord. Okay. Here it is right here. We don't edit any of this stuff. We timestamp post it. Best case short entry. You see no candles on the screen over here. All of this stuff was planned ahead of time. Right here. Big target long after pull potential to 627.90. I wanted to see 627.90 hit as support and then rally to 630.73 again right after the weekly tag was hit. We were calling this stuff, right? Did it pull back? No, because it's a jerk. So we didn't get the perfect pullback. So that one was actually from the 15-minute here, right? So or no, I keep saying no, we did get the pullback. Jesus, bear with me here, I'm on zero sleep. There we go. Okay, the 15. Did we get the target? Yes. Sorry, I keep thinking the market's a jerk. It wasn't a jerk. Counter trend best case. T1 live tag if VWAP support was the 100. So I said it was going to come back here and go long again. So I called the counter trend short right here. As you just seen in the picture, I'll pull it back up again because I'm retarded. Apparently cannot talk today. T1 short after fails weekly tap. I told you it was going to tap this weekly. I told you it was going to come right here to 627.90. Even though I can't speak now, I promise I was speaking in Discord. Here's the weekly tap. Here's the support I called. Long to the gold. So if you like this shit, this went freaking 8, 9, 10, 100 points this way. And then I told you to long it right here to the golden 1618, 80 again. So get some. Now, how did I know that? Well, the golden fibs, right? Every single day I come in like I expressed. Yesterday's highs to yesterday's lows. The GP was non-existent because we were not under the VWAP or 100 EMA, so we were not coming down there. If it goes over yesterday's highs, hey, look at this big green sentiment that we drew. Amazing. Anything over yesterday's highs was long all the way to this 50, and then that's where the gold comes in. So if I delete that algo we're talking about here, make it a little cleaner for you to see, delete the sentiment, delete all the notes that I've had on all day where we knew stuff was going. Bam, there we go. We had above yesterday's highs, magnet 1618. That 1618 comes from yesterday's high low. All right. Sorry, I'm a mess today. So tired. Into the SPY. One more busy chart. This is what I left my crew with before I left. And I said, boys and girls, let's get it. And I said, okay, best case scenario, big long target on the week. We broke out, obviously, and straight up from yesterday's highs. My last target, big target long after the pull of 629. 627.90. This is where it didn't work out. Q's was it. SPY was not. I told everybody to actually trade Q's today, which was odd because that was the front runner and the good one. That's the one that worked out. So back over here to the no, the market's a jerk, because this is where I was supposed to say that. SPY came up to the 15-minute high low. hit the 1618. That sucker didn't come back down to the 100. So our two trade plans, one worked on the QQQ, obviously for the dip buy, and then SPY did not. We just hustled. So the last trade plan I gave my crew was over under the weekly and this orange zone. So I made this orange zone. I said, best case short entry, let it tap 629.57, take a scalp. But then I said, be very careful because the 10 SMA is rushing up here on the 5 minute. And if it catches that 5 minute before you can come down, she's going to push up. So here's that 10 SMA chop, push. Now, we did get a trade call here still. It's fine because we did not get any structural breaks to that downside to come down here, but I did give them over under on the orange zone. I said, if it's under the orange zone, we're looking good to here. Go long golden pocket. If not, you have to break over the orange, back test of confirmation. Don't touch it until it tells you to. Here's the big long target. Here's the chop action. Breaks over the orange zone. Back tests to the T. And right to the target where it says big long target after pull to 627.90 potential, but the market's a jerk. It was supposed to come back down here, but it consolidated. Q's worked out on that one. SPY did not. So sorry if that was a tough one to get through, guys. If you want to tune into the next, we got a couple extra cash giveaways coming this weekend. I didn't get any videos out. I was prepping for my trip. I will be in Miami from Thursday all the way till Monday through the weekend in the Brickell district. Hit me up if you guys want to chat up. I met a couple of you guys last time. Very, very awesome trading crew, but I'll be down there. And if you guys want to trade live with me, watch me do all this crap, predict all this stuff before it happens on the screen, because our magic 8-ball works. And all we do is feed trade calls to members and make you free money for paying us $100. Come on, you know the jam. You want to watch me do this stuff live so I can teach you how to make money, actually identify the stuff before it happens. I am not an alert service. That was a sad attempt at a joke. Do not ever sign up on any of my stuff. If you think you're going to get spoon-fed trades for $100, I promise I'm not chewing up food and spitting it in your mouth. No baby birds here. But we did have a very good opportunity on the day today, and damn, did we kill it right back to the gap fill. And that 1618 gap fill is actually right here. If you didn't notice that daily, it's actually pretty amazing. So if you came back down to that huge gap and go, do the high-low, look where the 1618 is, the end of the day target, blammo, gap fill. So where we have that ES gap, that is the final prediction as well. If we continue some juice, one thing to keep in mind for tomorrow is we finally have a little bit of sauce. Now, today was August 4th. We didn't have anything going on. Tomorrow is so nothing too crazy because it's Tuesday, but we do have a little bit of PMI ISM. It's not the biggest deal. I think no news flush ups are good. We're not going to see anything too nuts until that Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's going to be kind of just a low volume squeeze week in my opinion. So let's take that into consideration when we are watching for the all-time high 1 minute gap up there, okay? Because right now on the ES chart, you can see that gap open at 6466. We will return to that. Doesn't have to happen next day, but that will be a very good magnet. As we chop August, I'm going to make a prediction video the next couple weeks for you guys and how I'm going to handle September. So keep in mind, we're going to do that on a live class, not this weekend, but next. And halfway through August, pretty much we're going to do that. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to see how we're going to get to 64, 85, 62 potentially. I got some other markers I will cover in that video. Coming back up, and then September, see ya later. I'll talk all about it on the lives. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you on the next.